Amazing. How are you ladies doing? Had a great day? Glad it's Friday? Love it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to ask them some questions, and then at the end there'll be an opportunity for a Q&A if you want to ask any of them questions. So, first question, ladies. Can you just let them know who you are and what you do?
Hi ladies, and welcome. Thank you all for coming down. I'm Karen Millen, founder of the eponymous label Karen Millen.
Hi guys, so my name's Lauren Alexa, and I'm sort of a little bit of loads of things, but my main thing is personal training and an online fitness coach where I help women lose weight, look good, feel good, all that stuff.
Hello ladies, I'm NITISHA. I'm founder of NITISHA PATEL Food Consultancy. I'm a chef, product developer, recipe writer and food consultant.
Wow, following those ladies, amazing. I just have to say that today is filling my heart with so much joy to see us women all together celebrating ourselves, which is amazing. My name's Angel Gaskell. I'm the founder of The Alternative, a creative marketing studio based in the Midlands, but we work globally.
Amazing. So, next question, ladies. What is your passion? All hear about monetizing your passion. What is your passion?
I think we should let Karen start.
Fashion.
Fashion.
Yeah, anything creative really, the arts, anything that's arty, creative, stylish.
I love that.
Yeah, that's my passion. Yeah, so anything that involves that. I love surrounding myself by beautiful people, beautiful things, creating clothes that look beautiful on all you ladies, and giving you a sense of joy from wearing them, really.
Amazing. Can I say everyone looks absolutely amazing as well?
Yeah, you do look good. You might have to dress me. But my passion is women just feeling the best versions of themselves, and I love fitness. Fitness is... it's a broad thing for women. Some people might think that fitness, you have to be really slim, or you have to be this and you have to be that. You don't have to be anything in fitness. But yeah, that's my passion. Fitness, mindset, and just making women feel good.
Mine's actually two, and the first one is food. It's as simple as that. Before I could talk, before I could walk, it was food. But now as a woman, it's about helping the younger community, the younger generation, finding what their passion is and breaking down barriers and boundaries.
I probably have to say that mine would be creative exploration of any type. I started off doing theatre studies. I got into Rose Bruford, and then found out I was pregnant at 19. So my passion has always been about being my true self, but also being as most creative as I can possibly be. I love a blank sheet of paper, and I love the process that you go through in creating anything, whether it's a photo shoot, whether it's a bit of creative art. For me, that's so important.
Amazing. So, I know, and I think many of the ladies here know, the hardest thing when starting a business is just starting. So, how did you guys start your business?
I can start. So I actually worked in the corporate field. So I worked for corporate manufacturing companies, and I was developing ready meals for all of the UK supermarkets. And on a daily basis, I was killing myself to make a salary and make a corporate company very rich. And I decided that I can do this for myself, and I can go out and consult these companies. And I decided to give up the perks of having a corporate job, gave up a company car, gave up a corporate salary, the holidays, the pension, medical sick leave. I gave all that up. And I woke up one day and I had nothing. I didn't even have a laptop. And I thought, right, I'm going to start a business. I don't know how. Got a lot of debt to pay, still got bills to pay, but I have no income. And I, in essence, had burnt the boats. There was no going back. I'd burnt those bridges, but I had to make this work. And for me, it was about networking, making the right contacts, keeping in touch with those contacts, but staying true to me and my authentic self. My vision and purpose was to make a name for myself through my recipes and through my food. And I feel like I had to do that with conviction. And by doing that with conviction, my business evolved. We've been going strong for 7 years. It's not easy. You know, there's been a lot of downfalls and the lowest of lows. Don't get me wrong, there's highest of highs. But when those lows are low, they get you down and it can affect you. But I did not let that get in the way. I didn't earn a living for the first 7 months of my business. But when I had that first contract through the door, there's a knock-on effect and you take pride in what you do and you only take that forward and you take that further and the business grows. So that's a little bit about how mine started. I'll go this way.
Amazing.
That's very, very good. Really interesting listening to that. How I started was probably a number of unfortunate events that led me to start my own business. I'd worked in big advertising agencies since I was 20 in London. I got the opportunity to move up to the Midlands. I was a single mum, and through my career I would always just be very driven to be the best I could be. Having a child when you're younger and a single parent, I wasn't going to be a single mum pushing a buggy around a seaside town, which could have inevitably happened. And I think that the shit things in life drive you to be the better person. The lowest of the lows are when it actually makes you. And for me, because I worked my arse off all through that period of time, relinquishing being a proper mum, being a good daughter, etc., I actually got an opportunity from an old client that said, my current marketing company isn't doing what I need them to do. Would you set up? And until that moment, I'd never had the funding. I never realised that there was investment funding to go for. I never realised there were even angel investors. You know, we're talking about, you know, pre The Apprentice for most of young people. That's their point of reference for how business is done. And it just wasn't even in my world. I didn't even know that was possible. So I got an opportunity to take on a big contract with actually a big player in the West Midlands. And it was then that my first business was born. And we grew rapidly over a very short space of time. And the success of that was amazing, but also so challenging. So starting my business was absolutely probably about being the lowest I could be and going, I'm not going to settle, I'm going to survive. And that's what I felt like I did.
All right, guys. So I started my business when I was about 18. I'm 27 now, going back a while. So when I was 18, you know, when you're just sick of being broke, that was just me. Sick of being broke, sick of the electric going out, and we've got to go to the shop to put the key in and all that stuff to top up the gas. And then that stuff was just the ghetto for me. I was like, Mom, we need to just get out of this. Like, I'm just fed up of being broke. So my family was a reason as to why I actually wanted to get out. But what kickstarted it for me was a relationship where you go through like bad times, and I was like, right, I need to make a change. In every sort of my life, I did a life audit. What did I want to change about my life? What did I want for my life? I literally done a whole audit and my steps of action of what I was going to do. So in university, I did a dance degree, and in that dance degree, I had a module where I had to create a diet plan for a ballerina. So I was like, right, I'm trying to lose weight, trying to look good, just going through a relationship breakup, gonna get in the gym, you know, that whole thing, ladies, where you want to go in the gym, look good, all of that stuff. So I actually took it. The plan that I created, obviously for a ballerina, you can't put on a lot of muscle mass because obviously they need to be quite light and dainty. So I tailored that to myself, and obviously I'm half Jamaican, so I was like, right, need a bit of spice in this diet plan, need a bit of like seasonings, all that stuff. So I tailored it to myself for a 6 weeks plan, and then I stuck to it. So when I stuck to that plan, I documented my journey on social media, and with that I had no like marketing, like literally was just posting it real and raw. And then I went from like 5,000 followers to about like 10,000 in like a couple of months. I think it was only like 2 months, and everyone was like, what is it that you're actually doing? Like, you're losing loads of weight. I lost 3.5 stone in 3 months, and everyone wanted to know what it was. So I was like, right, okay, everyone wants to know. Let me package this up and sort of sell it. So I was like, right, I'm just going to write down what I've ate and just sell it on like a Word document. So I kind of like tried to use the word like text to try and make it look fancy. It wasn't that fancy. And yeah, I sold it for $9.99, and I put like a PayPal link in my Instagram bio. And then I think I made my first month, I made just under £30,000 in sales.
Wow.
So in my first month, I was like, Mom, we are not in the overdraft anymore. Like, we're £2,500 up. Like, we've got money in the bank. I was like, Mom, you get a house, everyone gets a house. So I was like, yeah, right, Mom, I think we're on to a winner here. And at the time, I was obviously doing my degree, and I was working 4 jobs because I love money. So that's sort of what it was. And I was like, right, okay, Mom, I'm going to quit all my jobs and just keep the one job because I love the Disney store in the morning, 6 till 10. Then I can go and do uni at 11. You know, I'm a bit nervous, not sure if my business is going to take off or not. And then within like 3 weeks, I quit Disney. I was like, right, Mom, I'm going to put my all into it, focus on it. And here I am like 7 years later. So that's sort of basically why I started.
Amazing.
Wow. All quite different to the way I started, I think. Apart from the fact, obviously, Lauren, you were young, I was young. And I didn't set out to be successful or have a business, I don't think. I almost fell about it. I went to college and studied fashion for 3 years. And when I left, didn't really know what I wanted to do, but didn't really want to work for anyone else either. And I think probably because I felt intimidated by the industry. I was nervous, I was shy. And so I just started making shirts for friends, and they were both male and female, so did that. Then my mum suggested doing a clothes party for friends at work and colleagues at work, where she in the office where she worked. And so I said, well, okay, I need to do more than just shirts. So I managed to get a loan of £100 and bought some white cotton and did a small collection of shirts, trousers, dresses, all white, all pretty boring. But so Mum organised this party plan thing, which was a bit of a thing back then. I'm talking 40 years ago, so it's a long time. Yeah, that was kind of went from one to another, and by the end of 2 years I was doing probably 3 a week, at which point we managed to secure a small shop in my hometown, and at that point we're still making my own clothes, still making the clothes that I was selling, and then we grew from me actually physically making them to taking them to outworkers, and then my partner that I'd met sort of just as I'd left college, he came on board and was helping me do all that. And it was hard work. So we'd take them around, 3 outworkers. We'd cut everything out in the evening. Come the day that we'd be taking them around, pick them up. Then we'd have to finish them. We'd button them, press them, trim them, and sell them. And it just gradually sort of grew from one store to another until we got 4 stores by the end of 10 years. But it was a very slow growth. And, you know, as I said, I didn't set out to make loads of money. I just wanted to do something that I really enjoyed doing and I had a passion for. I couldn't imagine doing anything else. And so I was just driven by work, really, doing something. I knew I had to work. We all had to work. And I always wanted the finer things in life. I was inspired by all of the trappings of people's other houses that I used to walk by, and I want one of those, I want one of those. So I didn't really realise that's what I was doing, but so it was very organic growth, and just a lot of hard work. And that's kind of, it's a long story really, but that's how it started.
Amazing. Well, let me just say you guys are all doing absolutely amazing. We see you and we respect everything that you do. So thank you so much for everything that you guys do. The next question is something that we can all relate to. We know that life, business, nothing is plain sailing. So I want to ask you ladies, what challenges have you overcome and how did you deal with them? Anyone want to go first?
I don't know. I mean, there's always challenges every step of the way. And I think, like most businesses, finance is always challenging. In the early days, trying to get funding. And that's certainly one of the big hurdles that we had. And we got to a point, I think, after we'd opened our first shop. And for the first year, it was almost like, are we going to manage to pay the rent? Can we keep this going? And we were desperately trying to find finance, a bank that would back us, give us a loan, an overdraft facility. And we'd almost exhausted everywhere that we could find. And then we came across a private bank called Aiken Hume. And we were just really lucky, I think, that the bank manager at the time just loved what we were doing. So he was quite unusual, you know, in a man's world, somebody that liked fashion. And you know, the two young people, 19, 20, rock up, sort of like, can we have an overdraft facility? And they're like, but he actually gave us one. And I think that was our big breaking point, really. Yeah, it really changed sort of the whole sort of landscape after that. So, yeah, it's pretty amazing. But that was definitely one of the hardest things, I think, trying to get financial backing.
So I have like a couple. So mine was obviously like the reverse. So I came into money like overnight, and coming from a background of not having money, you sort of feel like you've just hit the lottery. So I had like no like business skills. I had no like money management skills. So like you get excited, you're like, oh my God, right, I'm going to Thailand, I'm going here, I'm going there. And then you start looking at the bank balance, starts going down. Because at the beginning, I was looking at it like it was a monopoly money. So I'd seen all those zeros in the bank. You're like, wait, what's going on here? So that was a really big challenge for me at the beginning, just learning how to manage money. I have a fear of debt, so I literally don't like taking out anything. So I think that sort of like helped me out a bit. But I look back now and I don't have any regrets, but I feel like I could have managed my money better. I felt like I could have invested it in some things, because money goes and money comes. But that was like one of my first points. And then my second point is being like critical of self. So for me, I'm someone who's not fazed by what anyone's got to say about me, but I can be my own biggest critique. And I feel like it's a good thing, but it's also a really bad thing, because I feel like you can get in your head a lot. Being a personal trainer, and women, we fluctuate in weight all the time. We go up, we go down, we go up, we go down. But when you're on social media and people are like commenting and they've got things to say, for me, it's like I am my own biggest critique. So I think that's something I battled with like over the years. I'm still not over it, but I've been getting through it better than I normally would. So yeah, that's mine.
In my line of work, I think there's been a whole host of challenges, but one of the reoccurring themes has definitely been me being a woman of colour. And when I got into the industry, being a girl of colour in a male-dominated industry, which has been so difficult, but at the same time, it's made me who I am today. And, you know, if we fast track and talk about when I went to university, I told my family that I'm going to university to study culinary arts management. And even today, people are like, oh, what's that? But back then, this is 2007, my extended family were saying, you're going to uni to do cooking. Like, is that a thing? Is that a degree? Don't you want to do law or medicine or accountancy? You know, the typical traditional routes that an Asian girl would take. And I was like, well, you know, like, I love food, I love cooking, and I actually want to make it my educational route as well as my vocation. So I stuck that through. And at uni, I saw that on this course, there was 100 of us. 90 of those were men, were boys, young lads, and then 10 of us were girls. And out of those girls, I was the only Asian. So I was a minority in education. And then when I graduated and I went into the workplace, I worked in hotels and restaurants and hospitality. Again, the only girl, 5'2" female. I think we're having some issues with the mic. So that has always been a reoccurring theme. And then, you know, from education, from hospitality, after hospitality, I went into product development, so the corporate world. And now I'm in boardrooms and I'm presenting to CEOs and clients and Tesco and Co-op. And again, the only Asian, the only female, you know, she's 5'2". What's she going to do? Is she going to make a difference? And I remember there was one week where we had a brief come through from Co-op, and Co-op said, we want you to develop all of our Indian ready meals. You've got 2 weeks to do 20 ready meals. And I worked day and night and weekends, and I gave this project my heart, my soul, my blood, sweat, tears. I was like, yes, my ready meals are going to be on Co-op shelves. I'm going to show them what I can do. Spend 2 weeks developing these ready meals. Went into work on Monday morning, the day of the presentation, and my manager went, right, great work, Tish. You've done really well. We're going to let Stuart present. And it kind of felt like a kick in your stomach that Stuart, the privileged white guy, is going to be presenting my chicken tikka masala, you know, my recipes. And that's when I thought, I'm not doing this for a base salary. I'm not doing this anyway. There's loads more examples. I could be here all day. And it was those sorts of situations that I took, always remember, and thought, I'm doing this on my own terms and I'm charging my day rate. Then I'm going to add VAT and I'm going to put my name on your recipes. I'm going to do this my way now, because we can't live in that world. Whether you're a woman of colour or not, as a woman, you need to know your worth. And it's those sorts of challenges that I've always kept at the forefront of my business. And even though I'm a business owner, I still have those challenges on a daily basis, because all of my clients are men. Whether they're Indian or black or white, they're all men. And they don't get it from a female's point of view. When they book a consultation and I rock up in the office or in their kitchen, they're like, what's she going to do? But then, you know, they go on Instagram, they see I've got cookery books, I've been on TV, I've got this website, and then they get it. And they shouldn't have to get it, because if it was a white counterpart male saying, I'm going to develop your recipes, there wouldn't be that doubt. But why is there a doubt with me? But it's that doubt that feeds my fire and my hunger. So that's a little bit about my challenges. And I know that they're not going to go anywhere. I know we've got a long way to go, but I'm here for it. I'm here for the ride.
Oh, challenges. There's so many in business. I think actually one of my biggest challenges was trying to get my parents to understand what I was doing. So my dad's a musician, my mum's an alternative therapist. They met in a hippie commune in 1968 in London. Toured in a kind of a blues band across America. I was brought up in a teepee for a period of time. So I had this really wacky, eclectic upbringing. And then all of a sudden I wanted to be quite normal and go into like a bit of a profession and work in an advertising agency. And this is at a time where, you know, I'm working on brands like Tiffany or launching Xbox. And they just didn't understand what I did. I think my mum said, I think Angel's a solicitor. I think that's what she does. So I think one of the biggest challenges is trying to get my parents to understand that a creative output has a commercial return. And I think that then they started to slightly understand it. I think that my mum thinks I do something on the internet at the moment, which is a step on. I guess the biggest challenges with running my first agency was my passion, and the thing I love the most is working with clients to make their kind of business come to life and reach the audiences that they want to communicate with and sell their products and services to. And 5 years ago, we started the business and it grew to 50 people very, very quickly. And in that time, I'd gone from working in a big ad agency, doing the job, to then running an agency and having to let go of the things that I wasn't any good at. So I'm always good with numbers. That's always been my thing. And I've always been good with creative. And that my superpower is the ability to be able to explain that to people and bring them on board. But very quickly you realise as a business grows that you can't do all of those things anymore. I couldn't have the relationships with all the clients. I couldn't be the person pitching in all of the ideas. I had a leadership team, a managing director. And all of a sudden I felt so far removed from the thing that I'm most passionate about. So I think that that's probably the bigger challenge, and why actually, I sold up my business last year and have set up a new marketing studio called The Alternative. It's because I wanted to get back to the basics of what I enjoy. My passion is actually helping businesses to sell their products and services in the best way possible. And that's what I love. And that was the thing that I got the furthest away from being successful in my business, which is a real pain in the arse. But I don't think that there's very many other ways that you can go about that. So when you look at people that says, yeah, I've scaled my business, they're probably so far away from the thing that they were so passionate about in the first place. And businesses morph in so many different ways. And that's one of the things that I think anybody wanting to go on a entrepreneurial journey has to really think about. Is scaling is great, but sometimes you move away from the thing that you enjoy the most.
Amazing. Thank you, ladies, for sharing. So, a question I want to know, all the ladies want to know, is what advice would you give to someone wanting to monetize their passion?
I can take this. I think I've already mentioned it, but I think staying true to your authentic self is really important. And if you've got a passion, you can turn it into a way for it to be your profession. As long as you're passionate enough about it, and you have to believe in yourself. You know, that self-belief is so important. And sadly, a lot of us women do underestimate what we're capable of. It's only when we're thrown into the deep end that we realize that actually I can do this. So I think it's important that we remember A, your self-belief, B, don't underestimate yourself, and be true to yourself. For me, culture and heritage is everything. So I always keep that, again, at the forefront. A lot of my work is based around Indian ready meals or Indian recipes. And I've had to but make the most of my culture, my heritage. My grandparents are Indian. My parents were born in Africa and I've been born in the UK. For me, I have Indian background, but I'm a British born chef, but I love to use all these cultural influences for my business, and it's a great way for me to tell stories. When I write a recipe in my recipe books, you'll see that at the top there's always a story, because for me storytelling is through food. When you come to my house and you have a meal, it's not just a standard meal, this is from my grandmother who lived in this part of India, and this part of the meal is from my mum who lived in this part of Africa, and my dad was born in Kenya. You know, storytelling is so important. And I urge every woman to remember that, you know, be true to yourself and your experiences and what shapes you, because that will shape your future and your businesses, and use it in every single day business. What learnings can you take? And sometimes you need to note this, there's a lot going on in our mind. So it's important to note these things down, and that's something I like to do.
Thank you.
Just go for it. Go for it. What's the worst that can happen? You might fail, that's fine, but failing isn't really failure. You'll always learn from it, and you'll always be able to do something, take the lessons from it and grow and move on. You might realize that that's not even actually for you and you go in a different direction. But would you have gone in that different direction if you didn't do that first thing that initially failed, which wasn't a failure? And like most people have said on this panel, just be your true authentic self. I think there's nothing more rewarding to know that you can be who you are, and there's people out there that will accept you. Like some of us might think that, right, okay, personal training, there's so many other fitness people out there that do it. So if you're starting out and you're a bit worried about, right, the market's a bit saturated, or there's so many personal trainers in this, there's so many fashion people in here, there is room for all of us. I like hot. You might not like hot. You might like lemon and herb. Hope you don't, but yeah, you might like lemon. So my point is, there is room for all of us. So don't be put off by thinking that the market's saturated, because people like different things. What might work for me might not work for you. What might work for you might not work for me. So yeah, just do it. Don't be scared to fail, and just be your true authentic self.
Okay, mine's a bit of an odd one, but I would say be really commercial. So really commercial. So if we're talking about monetizing our passion, think of what your passion is, go and look at other people doing it and work out how much money is being made. I'll give you an example. I do this all the time and it drives my friends potty. We went to Bongo's Bingo about a year ago. If anybody's been, it's awful, but so bad. I enjoyed it. And I'm like, okay, so how many people are in the room? How much are they paying the actors? How much are they paying the DJ? How much are they taking behind the bar? And I just quickly did the calculations and worked how much they make from at night. Then I went on the website and counted on my phone while we're there, and the girls are drinking Prosecco, and there's me working it all out. By the time they've drunk all, they've looked at all of the dates that they've got across the UK, I went, Jesus Christ, it's a £1.5 million business from having a load of fun and some naked blokes on stage. What on earth is that all about? So all I'd say is, whether it's a jewellery company, whether it's a skincare brand, go and just work out the math. Is it worth it? And quickly just get, people say like minimal viable product, but just do something and see if it sells. So I did say I'd mention my daughter. So my daughter, Robin, sat in the front. When Robin was 9, she came up with this beauty bag concept. She bought little bags, holographic bags, a lollipop, a hair scrunchie, and some stickers. And she was selling it on Depop for £10. She made £500 in a month. All I just say is just give it a go. It doesn't matter how big or how small. And there's one book I definitely say to read. It's called Quantum Leap. It's about don't overplan everything. Don't let the analytical side of you get you to stop doing things. If you overthink things, you'll never do anything. Read that book. It's tiny. It's not a nasty one to read, but just get on and do stuff. Business is about action. End of. It's about positive action, and that's what I would suggest that you can try to do.
Fabulous. So, can we give our last panel and our fabulous women a round of applause? Thank you, ladies.